One moment she was laughing at every word you said, eyes full of warmth, texting you first, calling you different. You could feel it, that rare connection most men spend years searching for. Then, almost overnight, silence. No messages, no explanation, just distance. You check your phone 100 times a day, nothing. You replay conversations, wondering what changed. You scroll through her photos, trying to decode a ghost. It feels unreal. How someone who once wanted you now acts like you never existed. But here's the truth few men ever understand. You didn't lose her because you weren't enough. You lost her because you gave her too much of yourself too soon. Attraction doesn't vanish, it fades when mystery dies. When a man reveals his entire soul before trust has earned it, he hands over the very tension that keeps a woman's heart alive. She didn't disappear because she stopped caring, she disappeared because she stopped wondering. And in female psychology, curiosity is oxygen. Without it, desire suffocates. You see, in the early stages, every woman subconsciously tests your emotional gravity. She wants to feel drawn in, not dragged down. She wants to sense strength beneath softness. Calm, not chaos. But when you made her your focus, your center, your mission, she felt it. You stopped leading energy and started chasing it. And the moment a woman feels she's being pursued more than inspired, she withdraws. Not because she hates you, but because she needs contrast to feel attraction. When your world started revolving around her, you stopped being the world she wanted to explore. That's the paradox of connection. The closer you try to hold someone who's still deciding, the faster they slip away. Because what truly keeps a woman falling isn't constant attention. It's consistent direction. It's the energy of a man who can walk beside her, yet still walk alone. So she disappeared, not out of cruelty, but instinct. She felt the imbalance, that the story was no longer unfolding, it was concluded. But here's where most men fail. They chase closure instead of evolution. They try to fix what silence was already teaching them. That you don't lose value when she leaves. You reveal it when you stop chasing. You didn't lose her, you lost your center. And that's what this video is about. Reclaiming it. Before we start, a quick reminder, my complete Stoic Couple course is now live at thestoiccouple.podia.com. If you've been learning from these videos, that's just the surface. Inside the course, we go deeper. Mastering attraction, understanding female psychology, and rebuilding your mindset from the inside out. Join once, and you're in for life. With lifetime access to all future courses, books, and new lessons. Plus, you'll be part of our private Stoic community, a brotherhood where men like you grow together in discipline, power, and self-control. It's available in English and Spanish, and you can enroll instantly at thestoiccouple.podia.com or click the link below. Enroll once, grow forever. Let's begin. Number 1. When you gave more than you received. Every man remembers that moment when the balance shifted. At first, it felt mutual. She was curious, engaged, and drawn in. You replied fast because she replied fast. You matched her energy because she gave you energy. But somewhere along the way, your effort began to outweigh hers. You texted first more often. You filled every silence. You started giving more than you received. Not out of weakness, but out of hope. And hope, when it becomes desperation, is the slowest form of self-betrayal. You thought consistency would prove your value. You believed that if you just showed her how serious you were, she'd see your heart and choose you. But female psychology doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to polarity. Attraction is not built by giving endlessly. It's built by creating rhythm. Giving and pulling back, revealing and retreating. When she felt your energy become predictable, she stopped feeling that pull. The curiosity that once made her lean in was replaced by emotional certainty. And certainty kills desire. You didn't lose her because you failed to love her right. You lost her because you forgot to love yourself right. You started orbiting her instead of being your own center. She felt it. She sensed that the man she admired for his calm now sought her for reassurance. And when that shift happens, when a woman becomes your emotional anchor instead of your complement, she begins to feel the weight of your need instead of the warmth of your presence. Women are not attracted to effort, they're attracted to energy. A man who gives too much too fast doesn't feel strong, he feels uncertain. You wanted connection, but what you gave off was imbalance. That's when she subconsciously started to retreat. She didn't plan it, she just followed the feeling. One day, she texted a little slower. Then she skipped a reply. Then she vanished completely. Not because you did something wrong, but because you did too much of what once was right. Here's the Stoic truth most men refuse to accept. You don't attract through abundance of attention, but through absence of dependence. Love is not proven by constant presence. It's proven by emotional restraint. When she disappeared, the universe wasn't punishing you. It was redirecting you back to yourself, to your mission, your purpose, your center. The man who learns this never begs again. Because once you realize you were never rejected, only realigned, you stop chasing people and start mastering peace. Number 2. When curiosity turned into comfort. Attraction doesn't die loudly. It fades quietly, in small, almost invisible moments. One fewer compliment, a slower reply, a shift in tone you can't quite name but can always feel. It's never sudden. It's a gradual unraveling that starts when curiosity turns into comfort. In the beginning, she was fascinated by you, your calm, your restraint, your mystery. You made her wonder who you were when you weren't around. But then, piece by piece, you started giving her every answer before she even asked. And curiosity doesn't survive answers. It survives questions. You see, in female psychology, desire feeds on uncertainty. It's not manipulation, it's nature. The same energy that draws her in is the same energy that must remain partially out of reach. But when you gave her all your time, all your focus, all your emotion, you made her feel safe. And safe too soon feels predictable. She no longer had to imagine your next move, she could read it. And when a woman can fully read a man, she stops feeling magnetized by him. That's the paradox no one teaches men. What begins attraction eventually ends it when not balanced with space. The mystery that made her chase you turns into familiarity that makes her drift. It's not that she stopped liking you. It's that her emotional rhythm lost tension. Curiosity keeps love alive. Comfort, when unearned, puts it to sleep. Think about it. When she didn't fully know you, she couldn't stop thinking about you. Her mind would race, her emotions would rise, and that chase would feel intoxicating. But when you started being available, 24/7, when you answered instantly, when you explained your every feeling, she stopped having to wonder. And in her world, wonder is attraction's heartbeat. She disappeared not because she found someone else, but because she lost that emotional contrast. She used to feel your distance as depth, but now she feels your closeness as weight. You gave her certainty when she was still falling. And certainty removes the thrill. Stoicism teaches that love without balance is attachment, and attachment always leads to loss. You didn't lose her attention by being honest. You lost it by being too available. Your intentions were pure, but attraction isn't logical, it's instinctive. The next time you meet someone who makes you feel alive, remember this. Protect your mystery like it's sacred. Let her feel your energy without fully owning it. Because when a man becomes predictable, he stops being powerful. And when you stay unpredictable, not by games, but by grounded purpose, she'll never stop wondering about you, even in silence. Number 3, why your availability killed her desire. You probably thought being available showed care, that by being there for her, you were proving your loyalty. But in the world of female psychology, constant availability doesn't communicate love. It communicates low value. It's harsh but true. When you become too accessible, her subconscious labels you as predictable. And predictability doesn't excite a woman's mind, it relaxes it. The same availability that made her feel secure eventually made her feel superior. Here's what really happened. Your presence stopped being a privilege and became a habit. You turned what used to be earned into something guaranteed. You gave her emotional access she hadn't yet worked for. And once something is guaranteed, the human brain starts to take it for granted. It's not her fault. It's biology. Desire thrives on the unknown. When she knew she could have you anytime, she stopped needing to earn your attention. And the moment she stopped earning it, she stopped valuing it. You didn't lose her because another man came along. You lost her because you gave away the psychological tension that made her admire you. Every time she tested you, pulling away, going cold, delaying replies, she wasn't trying to hurt you. She was trying to feel something again. She was testing to see if the man she fell for was still centered, still in control, still unmoved by chaos. But each time you responded emotionally, she saw the answer she feared, you'd lost your emotional center. Women don't fall for men they control. They fall for men who control themselves. When you became instantly available, you gave her the final proof that she had emotional power over you. And power kills attraction faster than rejection ever could. This is the ego trigger most men never see. The silent shift when she realizes she no longer has to wonder whether you'll text, call, or show up. Because deep down, every woman wants to earn a man's presence. She wants to feel chosen, not by default, but by discipline. Stoicism teaches that the man who cannot withhold his attention is not loving. He's leaking energy. And a woman feels that leak. She doesn't respect the man who gives everything easily. She respects the one who gives sparingly, intentionally, and with control. So yes, she disappeared. But not because she stopped caring. Because her ego felt nothing left to conquer. She wanted to feel your distance again, to feel your restraint, to feel your peace standing taller than her emotions. That's what made her fall for you in the first place. Not your attention, but your composure. The moment you start valuing your presence like currency, you'll never chase approval again. Because a man who protects his availability becomes the one she can never replace. Number 4. When she realized you needed her more. In every connection, there's a silent negotiation of power. Not dominance, but energy. At first, you held it. You were calm, grounded, detached. She felt your strength not because you said much, but because your silence carried weight. Every word you spoke had meaning. Every delay had mystery. You didn't rush to please, and that made her feel something rare. Respect. But somewhere along the way, that balance cracked. You went from being the man she wanted to impress to the man trying to impress her. That's the moment the power shifted. You stopped being the prize and became the pursuer. And a woman always feels when a man's energy starts orbiting hers. She won't say it. She'll smile. She'll respond. She might even stay for a while. But her body language, her tone, her silence, they all start to change. Because deep down, attraction is built on polarity. Masculine direction versus feminine reaction. When you began reacting, instead of leading, she felt it. She felt the weight of your need. You thought giving more would bring her closer. But need doesn't pull people in. It pushes them away. She didn't want your validation. She wanted your presence. She wanted to feel the strength of a man who could love her without losing himself. But when she sensed that you needed her attention to feel secure, the polarity inverted. She became the steady one and you became the uncertain one. And in that switch, desire died. This is the cruel truth of emotional dynamics. The one who needs less always holds more influence. When you stopped being self-contained, she stopped being captivated. The mystery she once felt turned into emotional pressure. The space that once attracted her became suffocation. You gave her your peace in exchange for her approval. And once she realized she had that power, she lost attraction for it. Stoicism calls this the tragedy of attachment. When your happiness depends on someone else's reaction, you lose both happiness and respect. You stop leading yourself. You stop radiating control. You start chasing balance from someone who no longer feels it from you. The irony is painful. She didn't fall for the man who chased. She fell for the man who didn't need to. You were the calm in her chaos, but when you started needing reassurance, she became the calm in yours. That's when she disappeared. Not out of cruelty, but confusion. Because she couldn't follow a man who lost the gravity that once pulled her in. So understand this. You never lose power when you love deeply. You lose it when you stop loving yourself equally. The moment you reclaim that balance, the same woman who pulled away will feel that pull again. Not because you chased, but because you rose. Number 5. What her silence really means. When she disappeared, it felt like betrayal. One day she was warm, connected, present. The next, nothing. No warning, no closure, just silence. You stared at your phone, confused, angry, hopeful, all at once. But what if her silence wasn't punishment? What if it was communication in its most primal form? Because when a woman vanishes, she's not always running from you. She's running from what she feels around you. Female psychology is complex, but never random. When she goes silent, it's usually not because she stopped caring. It's because she's overwhelmed by what caring might mean. Silence, for her, is a form of control. It's how she regains emotional balance when the connection starts feeling too intense, too vulnerable, or too revealing. But here's the truth that most men miss. When she disappears, she's also watching. She's waiting to see if your world collapses without her in it. That's the hidden test. Her silence is a mirror. Not to punish you, but to measure you. She wants to know if you'll panic, chase, or crumble. If you do, she confirms what she feared, that your emotions depend on hers. But if you stay composed, if you remain unmoved and centered, she starts to question everything she thought she understood about you. Because now, the dynamic flips. Your silence becomes more powerful than hers. You see, when you respond to her absence with peace, you communicate value on a level words never could. You tell her, I care, but I'm not collapsing. You show her that you're not desperate for validation. You're devoted to balance. And that's the kind of energy that pulls her back. Not because you played games, but because you passed the test. This is why no contact isn't about manipulation. It's about mastery. You're not ignoring her. You're honoring yourself. You're creating emotional space where respect can rebuild itself. When she realizes she can't shake your peace, she starts to miss it. When she sees that your world still moves without her, she begins to wonder if she misjudged your worth. In Stoic philosophy, silence is never emptiness. It's presence without reaction. It's the sound of self-control, the rhythm of strength. When she disappeared, she didn't end the story. She simply gave you the pen to rewrite it. So don't chase her silence. Let it echo. Let her feel the distance she created. Because what she'll soon realize is that she didn't just walk away from a man, she walked away from peace. And peace is the hardest thing to forget. Number 6. When detachment becomes attraction again. At some point the storm settles, the panic fades, the urge to text dies, and the silence that once hurt begins to feel peaceful. That's when you've entered the reset. The point where detachment stops being a reaction and starts becoming your identity. It's no longer about proving anything to her. It's about remembering who you were before her validation defined your worth. This is where most men fail. They treat detachment like a tactic instead of a transformation. They wait for her to return instead of rebuilding themselves. But when you truly let go, not out of anger, but acceptance, something powerful shifts. You stop waiting for the phone to light up. You stop rehearsing conversations in your head. You stop needing closure because you realize her silence was your closure. And in that detachment, a strange thing happens. She starts to feel your absence differently. Before, she thought you were still emotionally attached, that your silence was just an act. But when your energy changes, when you no longer watch her stories, when your tone is calm, when your focus is forward, she senses it. Women have a deep emotional radar. They can feel when a man has truly detached, and it disturbs them. Because detachment reverses polarity. You're no longer the one chasing peace. You've become it. The more you grow into this version of yourself, the more magnetic you become. Not just to her, but to everyone around you. Your posture changes. Your tone steadies. Your presence deepens. You start walking with quiet confidence, not arrogance, but composure. And that's when attraction reignites. Not because you're trying to win her back, but because you've stopped needing to. Detachment isn't the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. It's standing still while the world tries to pull you in 1,000 directions. It's loving deeply without losing yourself. That's what true masculine energy is, self-command. When you reach this stage, you stop viewing her disappearance as rejection and start seeing it as redirection. She wasn't meant to complete you, she was meant to awaken you. So when she circles back, and she will, don't see it as victory. See it as validation of what Stoic men already know. The less you need approval, the more attractive you become. Because a man who's mastered detachment doesn't chase attention, he commands it. He doesn't fear silence, he embodies it. And when a woman feels that kind of peace radiating from you, she can't ignore it. It's not need, it's gravity. Number 7, becoming the man she can never walk away from again. Every man who's been broken by silence eventually faces a choice, to stay wounded or to rise wiser. Most stay trapped in the noise, chasing validation, replaying conversations, trying to fix what already revealed the truth. But a few, the rare few, understand that her disappearance wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of their rebirth. When you stop chasing closure, you start chasing clarity. You begin to realize that you never truly lost her. You lost the version of yourself that thought love required losing control. You start seeing that everything she awakened in you, the passion, the longing, the confusion, was meant to burn away your illusions. It wasn't rejection, it was refinement. This is where you evolve from emotional dependence to emotional dominance. Not dominance over others, but over yourself. You stop reacting to women, circumstances, and silence. You start responding from a place of grounded calm. You no longer need to prove that you're valuable. You live in a way that makes it obvious. You carry yourself differently, fewer words, slower movements, stronger eyes. You become the kind of man whose peace can't be disturbed because it no longer depends on anyone else. And here's the paradox. When you reach this level of composure, you stop needing women to notice you, but they can't help it. Because true masculine energy doesn't chase attention, it creates it. You've become the calm that feminine energy craves but rarely finds. You've turned heartbreak into high value, pain into power, silence into presence. Now, when she thinks of you or sees you again, she won't just remember the man she left. She'll feel the man you've become. She'll sense the difference in your tone, in your focus, in your detachment. The same woman who disappeared will find herself drawn back, not to what you were, but to what you've become. A man who can love deeply, walk away easily, and remain peaceful through both. That's the rebirth. The moment you realize that every loss was a lesson in disguise, every silence a test of strength. You stop asking, why did she leave? And start asking, what did this teach me? Because that's what Stoic men do. They don't seek revenge, they seek understanding. They don't fall apart. They fall inward, rebuild, and rise again. So when you walk forward now, do it with quiet power. Because the man who has faced heartbreak and found himself within it is the man no one can control, replace, or forget. You are no longer the man she walked away from. You are the man she'll always remember walking away. In short, silence. That's how every story ends, and how every great man begins again. You see, she didn't just walk away from you, she walked away from the version of you that still needed her to believe you were enough. What you've done since then, that's the real story. The way you've learned to stay calm when ignored. The way you've stopped explaining your worth. The way you've turned heartbreak into higher ground. That's evolution. That's what the weak never understand. Pain doesn't destroy you when you use it as a mirror. Every sleepless night you spent replaying her words. Every unanswered message. Every silent morning you fought through. They weren't wasted. They were shaping you. The world was forcing you to meet the version of yourself that doesn't need to be chosen to feel complete. And now you've become him. The man who knows his peace is his weapon, his silence his statement, and his composure his crown. That's the hidden beauty of loss. It introduces you to your strength. It teaches you that emotional control is not coldness, it's clarity. That detachment is not avoidance, it's self-respect. You didn't lose her by being too much. You lost her because the universe needed you to see that your value was never dependent on her recognition. And now that you've risen, the world feels it. The same people who doubted you can sense the difference in your presence. You've gone from chasing validation to commanding respect. You've become the kind of man who no longer competes for attention. Because attention naturally moves toward the man who doesn't seek it. Remember this. When you master silence, you master yourself. When you stop proving, you start becoming. And when you choose peace over reaction, no loss can touch you again. So if you're still in that dark phase, if she disappeared, if you feel forgotten, understand this. Every disappearance is divine redirection. Life is not taking from you, it's preparing you. It's stripping away the noise so you can finally hear your own strength. And when you rise from that silence, she'll feel it. They all will. If this message hit your soul, subscribe right now. Because here, we don't chase emotions, we master them. Welcome to the Stoic couple, where heartbreak ends and self-command begins. Before you go, remember, if you're ready to master yourself and the dating game, my full Stoic couple course is waiting at thestoiccouple.podia.com. Join once and you're in for life, with lifetime access to every future lesson, series, and book. Start your journey now, because growth doesn't wait.